Readers during the Civil War were spies. However, not men, but women.
These women risked their lives for their country. They were smart and sneaky, yet patriotic and proud.
Many women traveled long distances, leaving their children behind and jeopardizing the safety of their families and themselves.
They disguised themselves as men and crossed the enemy lines to find out insider secrets. After they would gather all of their information, they would then pass it on to a trusted individual, and that person would continue to do the same.
One of the most famous female spies was Sarah Emma Edmonds, aka Franklin Thompson. She never got caught and always fell through on her missions. During the Civil War, she enlisted in the 2nd Michigan Infantry. Thorough physical examinations were not mandatory for enlisting at the time, but she was rejected because of her height. They found that she was too short, so she went back another time and entered herself as a male nurse. Though, when her childhood friend died in the war, she saw that as a window of opportunity to go under intelligence. The high-ranking soldiers were blown away and beyond impressed.
She was the best thing that ever happened to the Union. Too bad for the Confederates. Their world was going to be turned upside down. For instance, would you believe me if I told you she went undercover as a black laundress and found official papers from one Confederate major to another? Well, that's exactly what happened in one occasion, and the Union were very happy with her work.
One female spy on the opposing side that was just as good as Sarah Emma Edmonds was Rose O'Neal Greenhow. Greenhow's loyalty to the Confederacy was noted by those with similar sympathies in Washington, and she was soon recruited as a spy.
On July 9th and July 16th, 1861, Greenhow passed a very secret and important message to Confederate General P.G.T. Beauregard, sharing extremely important information about the First Battle of Manassas and the Union General Irvin McDowell's plan for that battle. Some people from her society that were helping her to scheme were members of Congress, Union officers, and her dentist, Aaron Van Camp, who were all for the Confederacy.
Confederate President Jefferson Davis credited Greenhow's information with securing victory at Manassas for the Confederate Army over the Union.
On July 9th and July 16th, 1861, Greenhow passed a very secret and important message to Confederate General P.G.T. Beauregard, sharing extremely important information about the First Battle of Manassas and the Union General Irvin McDowell's plans for that battle. Some people from her society that were helping her to scheme were members of Congress, Union officers, and her dentist, Aaron Van Camp, who were all for the Confederacy.
On January 18, 1862, Greenhow was moved to Old Capitol Prison. Her 8-year-old daughter, Little Rose, was allowed to stay with her. Greenhow continued to pass along messages in unique ways while in prison. She once hid a message inside a woman visitor's bun.
If I am entitled to the name of spy because I was in the Secret Service, I accept it willingly, but it will hereafter have to my mind a high and honorable signification. For my loyalty to my country, I have 2 beautiful names. Here I am called traitor, farther north a spy, instead of the honored name Faithful.
That is a quote by Elizabeth Van Lew, a spy for the Union. The meaning of it has so much power because of what they did and how they were treated. As Miss Van Lew said, they were called a traitor and a spy, but to some people that is true. But they did it because they were faithful to their side and their beliefs.